Investing moats. Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. So you've heard this before, probably from fans of Warren Buffett or from Warren Buffett. Buffett says you should buy a moat type of business, a business with a moat around it. So what does he mean by that? So that's what this is going to discuss. Because a lot of people have a limited idea of what that means, what moat is. It's actually pretty broad, and I will give several examples and explanation as we go through here. So starting with one type of moat. Low-cost provider moat, Walmart and Costco. If Buffett was looking at those companies, he would say, generally, do they have a moat, a defensible position in the economy? Yes, they do. They really do. Walmart and Costco are both low-cost providers. That is their main moat. Now, they also have scale, right? They're large, they're extended. They're all over the place, but the main draw is people know they're not going to pay top dollar. They'll get a good deal on what they want to buy. So the low-cost provider moat is very defensible, and the reason is people will never not like a good deal. Everyone will always want to pay the least amount possible for everyday regular stuff they're buying. Now, if you're shopping for an exotic car, different story. You're not going to Walmart. You're going to Lotus, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, right? But the low-cost provider moat is highly defensible. Okay, another type of moat, Buffett would consider Microsoft and Nike to have mind share moats. Mind share means recognized brand. These are companies that have spent huge amounts of money advertising and marketing their brand so that it has mind share. If you think about athletic gear, Nike. If you think about computer software, Microsoft, right? So this is a highly defensible moat, mind share and brand. Now, just to point something out, none of these are foolproof. Having a moat, an established defendable position or strategy is very good, and it's a requirement. If you're going to buy a stock or a business and you do not have some defensible position, then you're a commodity. You're not differentiated from anyone else. So a moat is a differentiator. A moat means you have something unique that sets you apart that would make people tend to buy from you and not something similar, not a substitute. Okay, another moat type number 3, technology, a technology moat. Intel microprocessors. The vast majority of PC, personal computers run on Intel microprocessors or advanced micro devices, microprocessors. Now, a little story about AMD, because my mother-in-law worked at AMD. AMD survives partially because AMD kept Intel from being broken up for being a monopoly. Intel was so dominant in microprocessors in providing the computer chips for personal computers that they were in great danger of coming under attack for antitrust monopoly violations by the federal government. They were very dominant. AMD, initially, Intel fought them in court to stop them from implementing microprocessors that would be able to plug into personal computers and work like Intel chips. Intel fought AMD in court and then eventually saw the light and said, if we have another company making microprocessors, then the federal government can't say that we're a monopoly and we can survive and we won't be broken up. So that's kind of an older story from technology, but you would not believe how dominant Intel was. AMD was just barely had a foot in the door for microprocessors. Intel started going after them, saying that they had illegally copied the Intel technology. But nowadays, you have a choice. When you buy a personal computer, you can buy an Intel microprocessor equipped personal computer or an AMD microprocessor. It's your choice. Okay, so that's a technology advantage. If you're creating a PC, those are the two choices: the technology for the microprocessor, Intel or AMD. Okay, another technology moat, OpenAI, artificial intelligence. They put a stake in the ground early on. Elon Musk was involved with them early on. OpenAI is the 300-pound gorilla in artificial intelligence. Tesla is another technology advantage moat. Moat number 3, Tesla electric cars. Another one I left off here is NVIDIA for GPUs, graphical processing units that allow OpenAI to thrive. NVIDIA is massive. It's a huge technology advantage moat, NVIDIA, right? Okay, moat number 4. Scale size advantage. Now, you could say that Walmart and Costco have a scale size advantage too. That's not their main moat. Their main moat is their low cost provider. On the other hand, Boeing and Electric Boat. By the way, Electric Boat, if you're not familiar, they build U.S. Navy nuclear submarines. They're about the only company that does that. It's now, Electric Boat was, let's see here, acquired by General Dynamics. General Dynamics Electric Boat makes the U.S. submarine fleet, the U.S. Navy's fleet of nuclear submarines. Boeing, of course, Boeing Aerospace makes space vehicles, and they're predominantly known for producing aircraft. They have a scale size advantage. If you want to create a passenger jet, good luck, right? Because the only main competitor is Airbus, and Airbus is a consortium of a bunch of different countries that had to band together to compete with one company, Boeing, in the United States. So Boeing has the scale and size advantage. That's their main moat. They also have technology advantages, but the main moat is scale and size. You just can't compete with either Electric Boat or Boeing. Okay. Moat number 5, network effects. Okay, what's a network effect? A network effect, if you started a social network today, you would have no network effects. A network effect is when one person joins your social media startup and tells 5 of his friends, who then tell 5 of their friends, and so on and so on. The network grows sort of exponentially. Network effects allow Twitter, X, to be as large as it is. And there are some competitors. They really have not gone anywhere. Twitter is still the dominant, or X is still the dominant social media platform, that type of social media platform. LinkedIn for professional networking, still the dominant. Network effects for career networking. Google has a network effect on searching the internet. Okay, now they have failed, basically. Google is failing at search. I'll explain why as we go through here. Okay, moat number 6, the key man moat. Key man, visionary genius. You know, there's a guy at the top who has all the ideas. Sort of like Berkshire Hathaway with Warren Buffett, right? Because if you're an investor in Berkshire Hathaway, and this applies to me because I used to have a position in Berkshire Hathaway, I said to myself, you know, once Warren Buffett is out of the picture, I have no idea if that company is going to, if that holding company, if Berkshire Hathaway will do as well. And so I sold it. And so I still don't know what they're going to, what Berkshire Hathaway, whether they'll be able to execute as well as Buffett. That he's the key man. The same is true of Apple Computer. Apple Computer, you know, people recognize Apple Computer as a strong brand these days, but here's the reality. Steve Jobs was the visionary genius. Once he passed away, Apple has not really come out with any groundbreaking new stuff. When Steve was alive, almost everything he came up with succeeded in a huge way, just massively. And Tim Cook is sort of carrying the torch, but resting on the laurels of Steve Jobs. The key man, visionary genius, moat number 6. A couple of other examples, SpaceX, you know, Elon Musk. If Elon Musk was not running SpaceX, who knows? You know, I certainly don't know, because nobody could even, people still can't believe he's been able to do with SpaceX what he's done, right? You know, catching the large booster as it came back, you know, stuff like that. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor is sort of the visionary behind that. MicroStrategy is a tech company. Michael Saylor at the top buys Bitcoin. So once he's out of the picture, whether they will continue with their Bitcoin mission, I doubt it. I sort of doubt it. Okay. Moat number 7, outstanding service. Amazon is well known for outstanding service. Now, when it comes down to it, Amazon is nothing more than a website. It's a website. It's a two-sided marketplace. Sellers can sell stuff there. Buyers can buy stuff there. That's a two-sided marketplace. But the thing about Amazon is their moat is they have outstanding service. So the whole point about moat is, number 1, there's more than one type. It's not just brand. And this is not an inclusive list. There are other types of moats. The key thing about a moat is there's something unique about the company that would lead people to buy from that company rather than other similar companies if they had their choice, right? People would rather buy from Amazon than, say, eBay or Etsy. People would rather, buy from SpaceX if there are other aerospace companies out there that can put satellites into space. But when it comes down to it, most would prefer SpaceX. Network effects, moat, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google. Most people those are the go-to choices for a lot of people. Okay, but the thing about moats, Buffett has said some moats aren't worth a damn. So I want to give you some examples of some failed moats. This was a failure of scale. Moat number 4 was scale and size advantage, Electric Boat and Boeing. Sears was huge. Kmart was huge. Montgomery Ward's was huge. These are all retailers. Gone. Huge scale advantages, just massive scale advantage. Their moat was, no one in their right mind would have thought that Sears, Kmart, and Montgomery Ward's would be gone because they were just so dominant. Their scale moat was so dominant. Okay, another failed moat example, moat number 3, technology. Kodak. No one would have believed that Kodak would be out of the picture when it comes to cameras and technology. Kodak was known for camera film. They're still known for camera film, and there really is no more camera film for the most part, right? So failed moats, scale, retail at scale, and technology moats. Technology moats and network effect moats are some of the most fragile moats. As an example, another couple of failed moats of this type, moat number 5, network effects, Friendster and MySpace. They preceded Facebook. And Facebook, who knows who's going to replace them? But it was initially Friendster. Initially it was like CompuServe, and then America Online, then Friendster, then MySpace, then Facebook, right? And so this network effects moat, people can pick up and leave a network effects website at any time, and then the company will disappear. Fragile moats. Let's talk about a couple of examples of fragile moats. I said I talk about Google search. Now, these days, if you go to Google and search for anything, you're going to get served up a bunch of ads. I mean, it's pretty much, they want to make money and they don't really care too much anymore what you're searching for. When Google first came out, their advantage was other search engines at the time returned crummy search results. Google had really good, high quality search results. You'd search for something, you would see highly relevant matches to what you were searching for. And when they started, there were other companies, search engines, who you'd search for something and you'd get some pretty wacky matches in the search results. And Google came along and fixed that until they broke it. And the way they broke it is they got greedy. Just my opinion. If you do a Google search, you've got so many ads that it's become more and more difficult to get a quality match for what you're searching on. What is replacing Google search? AI, right? At least for now, until they screw up AI. These days, if you want to do a search, you're probably not going to use Google search. You're probably going to use AI. Just a much better set of results. Another fragile moat, as I already mentioned, moat number 5, Friendster and MySpace. Network effects, really fragile moats. They're really fragile. Okay, some examples of strong moats. I want to talk about Amazon for a second, okay? Because like I said, Amazon is known for outstanding service, moat number 7. Okay, that sort of moat is perishable. It's a strong moat as long as they execute. And we have seen that the key man, Jeff Bezos, is sort of out of the picture now, and they're still doing a great job. So far, so good. It's sort of like Tim Cook at Apple sort of carried the torch, and he's done a pretty good job. Amazon, if they start blowing it on the execution, this outstanding service is what keeps them going, their reputation. Amazon, I say it's a strong moat, as with a caveat, as long as they execute well like they have. Other strong moats, Microsoft. Okay, I don't think anyone's going to replace Microsoft operating systems anytime soon. People thought when the phone and the tablet came along, that would be the end of Microsoft. No. You need desktop computer still. You need laptop computer still. Microsoft, not going anywhere. That's a strong moat. Raytheon and Northrop Grumman, those are 2 defense contractors. Highly defensible moats. That's a combination of several moats. Technology advantage. I mean, Raytheon, it's a defense contractor. All sorts of types of weapons. They have technology advantage. They have scale and size advantage. Northrop Grumman, they make the B-2 bomber, stealth bomber. That's the only stealth bomber around. Northrop Grumman and the F-35 fighter jet in cooperation with Lockheed. The F-35 fighter and a bunch of other planes and systems. These 2 defense contractors have very strong moats, technology, scale and size advantage, and they don't have any of the weaknesses. Like they don't have a weak network effects moat. They don't have a weak key man, visionary genius moat. These are weak moats. Risky. They're risky moats. If you're Warren Buffett, you're probably not going to invest in network effects. You're probably not going to invest in key man. Why Buffett invested in Apple, I don't know. Because truth be told, yes, Tim Cook has done a good job. But in terms of breakthrough, creative, groundbreaking products that take over the world, that would have been a good moat. But that sort of died when Steve Jobs passed away. So I don't know why Buffett invested in Apple. Buffett tends to prefer branding moats. He likes branding moats, or a low-cost provider or niche moats, like See's Candies is sort of a niche, and they have a strong brand. So other strong moats, OpenAI, very strong moat. It's in the early days for OpenAI. They're really going to be huge. Unless they're really going to have to blow it hard to not be a massively strong moat going forward, because artificial intelligence just getting off the ground. Same with SpaceX. The only risk with SpaceX is if Elon Musk loses focus, and he's really good at delegating. You probably noticed, because he has a lot of different companies and they all seem to execute well, and he can't possibly be making all the important decisions. He's delegating. So if he somehow loses his skill at delegating, then maybe SpaceX, maybe the most not so strong, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's still pretty young. So Buffett would say buy a moat business. Now, what about McDonald's? McDonald's is a strong brand. Why wouldn't Buffett be interested in McDonald's? The business model is kind of a little bit unusual, because it's franchisee based. There are franchisees who, they get the right to operate the McDonald's. But the competition in fast food, it's such a low margin. It's not as bad as grocery stores, but I can see why Buffett prefers not investing in restaurants. Restaurants by nature, it's a really flaky sort of business, really iffy. Depends on consumer tastes. But Buffett prefers brands or companies that in their industry are just the recognized leader. Like Coca-Cola is a brand, right? But is it highly differentiated from like RC Cola or other cola products like Pepsi? Not really. I mean, there are taste differences and some people have taste preferences, but in terms of cola, that's not a unique product. It's a generic sort of product. It's been a generic product for a long time, but Buffett likes it because it has a unique place in the market, in the cola market, as the leader, as the biggest mind share. So what about brands in alcoholic beverages? If he likes colas, branding, if he likes Coca-Cola, why not Anheuser-Busch or Coors, or some of the larger alcohol products companies? Because some of them are quite large. And if you think about alcohol, you think, okay, people are going to always drink. The U.S. tried prohibition, didn't work. But the reality is alcohol consumption has been dropping in the U.S. That's not a good business. So Buffett stays out of, even though Anheuser-Busch has a great brand, he tends to prefer businesses that are at least stable, if not growing. Buffett also likes products that are needs-based, with some exceptions. See's Candy is a want, not a need. But Geico Insurance, that's a need, right? A lot of his businesses are needs-based businesses. So anyways, so this is just an example of different moats. I wanted to make this video because people think, okay, what is a moat? What does Buffett mean by that? There's a lot of different moats. This is just a sample. These 7, this is not all inclusive. There are other moats. And you can dig into this if you want. If you have any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you post in the comments. When I think about investing in a moat, like when in my past, I used to invest in individual stocks. I bought Microsoft. I bought Intel. Right? I bought tech stocks. I have a tech background. Invest in what you know. Those are technology advantage moats. So Buffett tends to prefer that kind of moat, and that's my preference too. Big names, highly recognized, highly defensible, hard to compete with. Basically, a moat is something that is hard to attack. It would be hard for an attacker to put Electric Boat out of business. It would be hard for someone attacking Boeing's moat to put Boeing out of business. That's the kind of company that Buffett prefers. So if you have any questions, please post in the comments. And I really want to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day.